everybody, it's Mrs. Pound, and we are studying Chapter 3.2 on plant activity from Purposeful Designs Life Science. Today we're going to take a look at the very last section in this chapter, Section 3.2.4 on plant behavior. So you can start studying for your test now because you have all the information you need. So our objectives for today are to explain the three main plant tropisms and describe the other movements of plants, which are circadian rhythms, photoperiodism, and nastic movements. So let's first start with the tropisms. A tropism is a change in the growth of a plant in response to a stimulus. And in a negative tropism, the plant grows away from the stimulus. So here we see a bean plant germinating, and we see that it is growing upwards away from gravity. So that is a negative tropism because it is growing away from gravity. And in a positive tropism, the plant grows toward the stimulus. So roots, on the other hand, grow towards gravity. So that is a positive tropism. Now, you're probably familiar with phototropism, even though you don't know what it's called. And this is the growth of a plant in response to light. And think about light. Which way do plants grow in response to light? If you said that plants grow toward the light, you are correct. And because they grow toward the light, that is a positive tropism. And you've probably seen this before. Maybe you've seen a plant that is growing indoors and somebody does not rotate the pot. It will start to lean towards the window all the time because that's where the light is coming from. So to prevent that, you really need to rotate the plant periodically so that it's not always leaning, so it's growing more straight. There's also gravitropism. This is the growth of a plant in response to gravity, and I already gave you this example. And so roots grow in the same direction as gravity. That is positive tropism. That's why we can't see the roots in this picture because they are growing down towards gravity. And the stem grows opposite gravity, so that is negative tropism because it is growing up against gravity. And you'll notice this no matter how you plant a seed, the roots will grow down, the stem will grow up. There's also thigmotropism. This one you're probably not as familiar with. This is the growth of a plant in response to touch. And we can see this ivy plant growing up this tree. It's touching it. It's growing towards it. So the tendrils of some plants grow when they contact solid objects. So vines tend to do this. And this is a positive tropism because it's growing towards that touch. So when it touches something, it will grow around it. And just like that ivy was climbing up that tree as well. Now, so considering tropisms, if a potted plant is set on its side after a few weeks, so let's say you have a potted plant and you decide to turn it over on its side. If you leave it that way, how will that plant grow? What will it do? Will it just grow outwards or will it do something else? Well, after a few weeks, you should observe that phototropism takes place, and this is where the stem and leaves will have grown toward the sun. So you'll notice that wherever the sun is in relation to the plant, it will start to grow toward the sun. Also, gravitropism will take place as well, and the stem will have grown upward and the roots will grow downward. So the plant pot will be like this, and the stem will start to grow upward like this, and if you take the soil out, you'll notice that the roots start to grow downward with gravity as well. Now, there are other ways that plants respond to their environment with their growth and activity. And one of these is the regular rhythms of growth and activity that occur in approximately 24-hour cycles are circadian rhythms. So one circadian rhythm that you might observe is with something like a morning glory, where the flower will open in the morning and close at night. Because that happens within a 24-hour period, that is considered to be a circadian rhythm. So anything that happens like that within 24 hours. However, there's another response as well that has to do with 24-hour cycles, and this is a biological response of a plant to changes in the proportion of light and dark within a 24-hour cycle is photoperiodism. So this is different. So throughout the days here, where we live, you'll notice that there's more daylight sometimes than other times. And this affects when plants will and will not flower. So, for example, poinsettias are short day plants. They require a short day in order to flower. And so greenhouses have to control the amount of light that poinsettias get to get these pretty colors. And actually, this red color is not the flowers. That's the leaves. The flowers are the yellow things in the middle. But in order to get these nice colors, poinsettias have to have a short day length. Strawberries also need a short day length, and chrysanthemums. So things that generally flower in the fall or the spring are short day plants. There are also long day plants. Potatoes require a long day, and spinach requires a long day to flower. And usually, I think spinach is a 14-hour day. So they require very long days, and that depends upon this proportion of light and dark. So that is photoperiodism. And then there are day neutral plants that it does not matter the length of day for when they will flower. There are also nastic movements, and these nastic movements are plant responses that are independent of the direction from which the stimulus comes. So, unlike gravitropism or phototropism or thigmotropism, it doesn't matter where the stimulus is coming from. So an example of this are night closing for flowers and leaves, because it doesn't matter where the stimulus is coming from, and the Venus flytrap. We see here it has captured an insect that also does not depend upon the direction of the stimulus. However, tropisms are movements that are directional, relating to the direction from which the stimulus is coming. So they have a certain direction in response to the stimulus. So that's the difference between a nastic movement that's not dependent upon direction, and tropisms are dependent upon direction. So our objectives were to explain the three main plant tropisms and describe the other movements of plants, such as circadian rhythms, photoperiodism, and nastic movements. So don't forget your 5 questions in your margin, and keep watching this video to answer the questions at the end.